What's up, everybody? It's George Gabriel, and this MIDI pedal is going to cut your recording time by 50% at least, and I'm going to show you how. Now, the Pacer pedal by Nektar has been a lifesaver for me. Doing episodic TV, I got to do 22 minutes of music in 2 days, and I record a lot of live instruments when I'm scoring, and so I needed something to save time. In comes the Pacer pedal from Nektar. You can get it for under 200 bucks, and I promise it's worth every single penny. Furthermore, they have installs that relate to your DAW, like I have the Logic install. You know, part of the problem is when you're recording, you got a guitar in your hand, especially if you're recording with a mic and you got like the acoustic guitar and you have to be exactly placed, and if you just move a little bit, your guitar sound's going to change if you're not in the exact spot. This is where this pedal is crucial. But even when you're doing guitar solos or vocals, it can streamline the process. I promise you, this is something you want. Now, I'm not one of these tech guys that's going to give you all the specs. If you want that, go to their website or find somebody who does like a big tutorial on the Nektar. That's not what this is. What I'm here to show you is how I use this pedal in Logic to completely streamline my process. So let's take a look. Now let me show you what this pedal can do. There are three main areas here and a bunch of little presets here. So your own presets, you can actually dial in your own presets and programs. That's one thing. But then when we talk about DAW specific, this is what gets me excited. So if you hit the track area, you'll notice that all of this stuff is pertaining to Logic. For instance, if I want to go to the track that I want to play on and I want to solo it, it solos it. I want to mute it, it mutes it. If I want to get it ready to record, it goes into record arm. And if I want to get the click going, I just click the click here and you can see the metronome comes up. If you also have patches, you can actually cycle through patches. That's a pretty cool feature. I don't have any patches lined up right now, so that's not something I'm going to show you. But you can also navigate through the tracks. Then if you go to the transport, this is a whole nother level. I can go into cycle here. I can fast forward or rewind, I can play or stop, and of course I can go ahead and record if I want to. Literally the name of the game is I don't want to change my position. If I'm doing something complicated, I want to stay where I'm at. But where the real magic comes in is when you go to this. These are all definable, and I went ahead and set up some key commands to streamline my process. In fact, to be honest, I don't even really use these two features. I use more the custom presets. So the example I'm going to show you here, I'm in the midst of redoing a guitar album I wrote when I was 19 years old, 22 songs, and I have to relearn all this stuff. And frankly, I have to do it in pieces. As much as I'd like to be able to just do it from start to finish without a flaw, that's not happening. I'm going to go ahead and go in input mode on this and see if I got my sound. Okay, I got my sound up and now I am ready to start recording. What I did is in Logic, I like the record repeat function. The reason why is if I mess something up, I just hit record repeat and I'm right back to where I started. I don't have to stop. I don't have to get rid of the take and delete it and blah, blah, blah. As you may be aware, I'm not a huge fan of the comping and I have a whole nother way I do it. I think this is much faster. You be the judge on how you do it on your end. You could use this with comping if you want to. I don't. But the first key command I set up was record repeat. So if you go into Logic and you go to key commands and you go to edit assignments and you just type in record, you can see I have record repeat and you can see my control surface is learned. That's what this is. I use this fourth pedal to be my record repeat pedal. Now if I want to go ahead and just start recording, I'm going to actually use the keyboard to start recording. And let's see what happens. Already messed up. So I hit this record repeat, takes me right back. I don't have to move my hands off the guitar. Here we go. Screwed up again. There we go. This is a beauty. Okay, so that's where I screwed up. So the second thing I actually brought to this table was the one right next to record is stop. Okay, big deal. I could go to the other side and do stop. But what I want to do is say, I really like what I just did. That fifth one I assigned to strip silence. So now all I have to do is hit that. I click OK. Now I've saved that. Now there's a couple different ways I can go about this. I have F5 set up to create an alternate track, and I could just go a little bit behind this. And I know this little riff, I don't know how to play it. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with me trying to get my guitar chops down. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record from that spot. So I'm going to go ahead, go into record. And I could just keep on hitting this record button over. Suck. Okay, I didn't really nail that part, let's just be honest. But I also want to move this video along. So what I'm going to do is that second part, I'm going to go ahead, strip silence, and I just move that up. I could use the pedal to go back, but I'm just going to use the keyboard to get back where I need to get. And I'm not going to hit this one because it's just... If I really want to be a cheater, I can do... I'll just do that, and then I'll punch the next part. Haha. Because right now I suck at learning this back again. And this is really the point of this pedal. So here I go. Okay, let's say I like that, even though it was kind of lame. I could just get that, boom, and let me zoom in a little bit here. Move that puppy up. Nice. So now I could do the next part. All right, let's just see if that worked. Faking my way to the top here. And... oh, nice. I made it through as a sucker who can't play guitar. Horrible. But I got that other part down. So again, this is about streamlining the process. And oh, by the way, on number 1, I assigned the tuner. Sound a little out. Tuner goes away. I didn't even have to touch the keyboard. How cool is that? There's other things I did, like I assigned a play. Now, if I'm going to take this little guy here and I'm going to go ahead and use my strip silence, boom, move those two puppies up, you can see how this saves you so much time. So beyond that, what I did was I actually, in my second bank here, I actually lined up so I could do punch zones. So how do you set these key commands up? Let me show you. Again, go to key commands, go to edit assignments, and then you decide which ones you want. For instance, when I did strip silence, I said silence, and you can see it says learned. So how do you get it to learn? Learn new assignment. All you need to do is put it in learn new assignment, and I click it and it says learned. Now I already had it learned. So it said, you want to keep both? I'm like, no, I'll reassign it. I can delete the old assignment. But regardless, what it's going to do now is that simply, I can just do this, hit that, and bada boom, bada bing, there is my strip silence. You can literally do any sort of key command you want to make this happen. This is super helpful. Now, can you use this with comp recording? Sure you can. Again, I'm not a comp recording guy. I think it's a waste of audio. Just get the take you want, the good take. Maybe you get another track that has a secondary take. But frankly, I don't need to do that. I'm just building my solo as I go along. But it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're doing acoustic guitars, you set yourself up so your foot's just on the pedal. If you're doing bass, same thing. I use this all the time. It is such a time saver. And frankly, there are so many Logic key commands that you can program this to that you can get around pretty quick doing a whole bunch of things. And it has expression pedals. So if you want to use an expression pedal and assign that instead of your mod wheel on the keyboard, use the expression pedal. I use it a lot with strings and stuff like that because I'm doing two-handed strings. I don't have time to put the mod wheel in. I just use that expression pedal, assign it to the mod wheel, bada boom, bada bing. I am to the races doing things with my feet and being way more efficient. So what do you think of this Nektar pedal? I'm telling you, if you do a lot of recording, it doesn't make any sense not to get this, especially with the fact that you can install Logic's presets in it or Pro Tools or Ableton. It's got a whole bunch of different things. This is not just for Logic. Furthermore, the fact that you can use it on the road, use it live, it's durable. I've literally had this for probably, I don't know, 8 years. I've beaten the living crap out of this thing and it still is a champ. But what do you think? Is this something that you could use to streamline your process? Let me know in the comments. I want to know. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button. Click the bell icon to be notified of future videos. Follow me on Instagram at GGabrielMusic and check out GeorgeGabriel.com where you can get to know me and you can even reach out to me or even we could do a session one-on-one. There'll be lots more gear videos to come. I hope you like this one. Get that Nektar Pacer pedal. It is worth every penny. Until next time, this is George Gabriel Music.